Is everybody doing good?
Yeah, I think
I'm doing
everyone's
good.
yeah, I'm good too. I mean, we have an espresso martini. Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink clink. So, we already did a life update and you guys would have heard it, but today we are going to talk the case that I want to get into, which I'll talk a little bit about, we already did in episode 70. So again, I'll talk about that here in a second. But this case is so wild. And before we even dive into it, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody who's continued to listen, to continue to support the podcast. It means so much. You all have been so patient, so supportive, and I hope you all love these episodes.
Yeah, because they're coming.
Forward. I know they're coming. So we're looking to release an episode bi-monthly, so twice a month. I'm not sure if it'll be every other week that you'll get an episode or if you'll get an episode back to back. We haven't really figured that out yet, but we'll figure it out. But
I'm open to whatever.
Yeah, you'll get 2 episodes a month regardless. And I'm super excited, and we're going to kind of alternate similar to how Cadence and I did. Where I'll tell a story, April will listen, April will tell a story, I'll listen. Obviously we'll ask questions, give each other feedback and stuff like that. But I think that just works.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Getting to sit here and listen to a story.
Yeah.
I'm shut up.
I know.
5 seconds.
Yeah, you're wait, what? Is that real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be able to do it myself too, because I found out so much stuff. I'm just the whole time I'm just whoa.
Yeah, I know. So. It's fascinating. It's amazing. So anyway, before we dive in and get started, I am going to go ahead and read the disclaimer so we don't get sued. So, our videos and podcasts are for entertainment purposes only. All information discussed is found on the internet. So keep in mind, we're going to talk all things sinister that may not be suitable for all audiences. So viewer and listener discretion is advised. So if you're going to listen to this in the car with your kids, we're going to say fuck. We're going to say shit. We're going to say rape. We're going to say stabbed. We're going to say murder. We're going to say all the bad things, right? I mean... Yeah. That's just what happens.
Yeah, it's just I can't keep myself from trying to say it. I couldn't censor it if I tried.
I know. And I was telling April about this and then rant over and we'll get to the story. But whenever we were talking at La Paloma and I'm yeah, we'll never be able to be monetized on YouTube. You're what? Why? I'm because you'd have to say unalived. What? You unalived yourself? No.
I mean, I get wanting to censor the internet. Totally get that. But there's YouTube for children, for one. And for two, censor it from all of the other weird shit that's on there.
Yeah, no kidding. You don't want to, why would you want to censor it from true crime? I don't understand.
Yeah, I truly don't either.
Yeah.
They're hiding something.
For sure. So we are going to continue, I think we're going to continue the drinking game. You want to continue the drinking game?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So anytime we say the word suitcase, take a drink. So, if you're drinking along, 21 and up, take a sippy sip of that margarita or whatever you're drinking. If you aren't drinking alcohol, then you know what? You can take a sippy sip of that water and stay hydrated.
Yes. Get yourself a little mocktail action.
Yeah. Whatever you want.
Yes.
Okay. So we are talking about Sarah Boone. Talked about her on episode 70 back whenever you were on the podcast. So now we're continuing with part 2 just because there's been a lot that has happened since we talked last.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with it at all, not gonna lie.
Gosh.
So yeah. I purposely kind of did it because I was I know that we talked about doing an episode 2 update anyway. So I was I'm just gonna wait so that I can have a real reaction to this. So,
yeah. So Sarah Boone, known as the Suitcase Killer. So first drink of the night, with the game. She lived in Winter Park, Florida. And back in February of 2020, she murdered her boyfriend, George Torres. And, you know, you can listen to episode 70 and, you know, get kind of updated on the backstory of it. But basically what had happened was they were playing games. They were drinking. They were alcoholics, drug addicts. They were playing games. And I guess they decided to play hide and seek. And, like, he just decided to crawl into a suitcase. And she zipped him up in it. And, well, George never made it out.
Yeah, it's still kind of like, when I think about it, I'm like, so, well, I really want to know why he got in the suitcase in the first place. Like,
I don't know why either. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But also, like, she zipped him up and he fit. Like, he fit in there. I don't even know if I could fit in a suitcase because, I mean, it would be very uncomfortable. Like, I feel like my knees and my hips and all of my joints would be like aching. Yes. You know what I mean?
We're really ripping through that word so far.
Oh my God, I know. I probably should have chose like something else. But anyway, so she zipped him up and she left him in there to die, basically. Yep. And we'll go through a little more in detail, you know, through the trial and all that stuff on a little more information that had happened. But while he was pleading for his life, she was laughing and mocking him. And, you know, I'll play a little bit of an audio clip here in a minute of her video because she recorded him while he was zipped up. And, yeah, you know, it's pretty shitty. It's a pretty crazy situation. So listen to episode 70 to refresh your memory. But so again, continuing with the story. So they're playing hide and seek. He gets in the suitcase. She zips him up. And then she goes upstairs and goes to sleep.
Goes upstairs.
Yeah, right. And she goes to sleep because she's tired and whatever. And then she comes back downstairs the following morning, early afternoon, and he's dead. Well, obviously he's dead. She pulls his body out of the suitcase. And you'd think that, like, she would call 911 first. No. Do you remember who she called first?
Honestly, no.
Okay. She called her ex-husband.
Stop. Did you tell me that last time?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, she called her ex-husband. And he was like, girl, you need to call 911. Like, you need to call the police.
He's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, you have a dead body in your house and George is dead. Like, call 911. So she called 911, right? The following day. So obviously, like, police, EMS, everybody got there, and, you know, the 911 call is pretty crazy. She's like, yeah, so my boyfriend and I were playing hide and seek, and he climbed into a suitcase, and, well, he's dead now. I pulled him out, and I tried to give him CPR, but he's dead. And they're like, okay, ma'am, wait, like, what? You're telling me that you were playing hide and seek, and he's dead? Like, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
No.
So, continuing with, you know, the story, her trial, she had continuance after continuance after continuance after continuance because, a couple of things, mostly because she kept firing her attorneys, or her attorneys kept quitting on her because she was just a terrible client. And then secondarily, her attorneys were trying to fight for battered woman syndrome. Like, almost as if she acted in self-defense.
I feel like that's a little, like, how is it put a suitcase self-defense? Like, he's not physically attacking you.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything other than hiding in a suitcase, apparently. Oh.
Yep. I know. Yeah, you're like, hey, your turn, catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, like, that doesn't end up working in her favor because, no, it's not self-defense at all. Like, he was defenseless. Like, he couldn't do anything.
He couldn't be more
more defenseless. Like, I know, right? So, anyway, her trial was continued throughout, you know, the entire 4 years. I mean, if we think about it, it was February 2020, and then her trial wasn't until October of last year. October 2024.
So she's just like sitting
in jail. Yeah.
In just like state prison then probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So so it's like crazy. She's there for 4 years. And her trial lasted about 2 weeks. I think it was like 10 days to be exact. 6 full days of trial, and then obviously like, you know, the judgment and the sentencing and all that. So first day, October 18th, 2024, the prosecution, of course, brought forward the video of her cell phone recording of her recording him, you know, dying. But they only read the transcript of the video. I think the prosecution did a really good job in this case, because I was watching through like the trial videos and stuff, and they're like reading verbatim the transcript of her recording him, and he's like, Sarah, babe, get me out of here. I can't breathe. And she's like, for everything you've done to me. And so they're like reading this in court, and it's like the moderator or the, you know, the attorney, Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Let me out. Sarah, for everything you've done to me. It was like very monotone. I'm like, this is like so weird, but so funny. I wish they would have hired like an actor and an actress. Anybody else to be like, for everything you've done to me. Yes. And like make it a little more.
You have to give it something.
I know.
Everything you've done.
Yeah, for everything you've done to me. But anyway, we'll play the video here in a little bit, so that way you can hear it. And the defense, again, they're trying to claim PTSD from prior abuse of their relationship, which there was. Like, there was a lot of abuse. There was one time he like stabbed her in the leg when she was grilling them steaks. There was another time when, you know, like he bashed her head in. She had to go to the hospital. Like, cops were there at their townhouse all the time. Like, all the time. And neighbors knew it and stuff. But still, that's, like, that doesn't give you the okay to kill your boyfriend the way that you did.
Yeah, like if you wanted to kill him that bad, like wait till he stabs you with a knife again and be like, bitch.
And then really make it self-defense.
Yeah, and then you can get away with it, girl.
I know. So, you know, obviously that's like day one of the trial. The prosecution then played the full like 911 call, and again, a little bit like what I was talking about. You know, she said that they were playing hide and seek, stuffed him in a suitcase. She pulled his body out and she tried to administer CPR, but he was already dead. And so obviously like he's lifeless because of what happened, right? And so day 2 of the trial is October 21st. Prosecution decides to go through all of Sarah's text messages, and in the meantime, she was texting her ex-husband. Yeah,
spicy.
And I know, and like, but she's talking to her ex-husband about her relationship issues with George, and so she's saying like anytime they fight, like she's texting him. But
ooh,
I know, which is kind of weird, right?
Yes.
I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, were they having an affair? Or was there like something going on with the amount of times that she was texting him?
Did the boyfriend or George, yeah.
I
don't remember if they were married or whatever.
No,
but anyways,
boyfriend, yeah.
Did he know about this?
Not that I'm aware of. Like, I mean, they had to talk because they have kids, right? Or whatnot. Right. But I don't think he like really knew the extent of this conversation relationship that they were having. But on January 13th, 2020, so just a few weeks before she killed him, she texted her ex and said, I'll get rid of him. Then I'll be better.
What?
I know. So it's like, to me, that screams like premeditated murder in a way, because it's like you're already planning this, bitch, like 2 weeks before.
Who plans to murder somebody by suitcase?
Yeah, right? By playing hide and seek, a children's game. I mean, what is this, Squid Games? Like, yes. So anyway, prosecution then plays the video. So this is on day 2 of George dying, and there are 2 videos that she had taken during this whole situation, and they are 11 minutes apart. So the first video is a couple of minutes long, and it's him, pleading. And then the second video, 11 minutes later, is 20 seconds long. That's it. And it's almost as if like she was recording him, like to watch him actually die and like to take his last breath. Yeah, it's like very chilling to me, because in the second video, it's 20 seconds long, and I'll post it on the episode so that way if you want to listen to it, you can. But he literally, all he says is Sarah, and you can hear it's like very faint. He can barely breathe, and then it's like nothing. It's like silent. And so then she stops the recording. So it's like legit as if she was waiting for him to take his last breath.
Yet she went to bed that night.
Yeah. Evil, evil bitch, in my opinion.
Yeah. Why? How fucked up do you have to be for like, if she like is pleading like, oh, we were drinking, we were drunk, whatever. Like,
yeah,
they say that kind of your true colors come out a little bit whenever you're drunk, So it's like, if your blackout tells you to videotape the last breath of somebody that you once loved, that's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark. And I think that's why whenever we talk about the sentencing and at the end of the episode, why she got what she got was because although the charge, which again we'll talk in a minute, I think should have included premeditation, it doesn't. But to me, I feel like she planned this. I feel like she was looking for the perfect opportunity, and she wanted it to be as easy as possible. Like, she didn't want him to stab her again and take the knife and like stab him back. Like, she was looking for the perfect opportunity, and she waited, and she found it.
I mean, it is a good opportunity, but it's like, if you're going to do all of that, like, you literally took a video. Like, how do you forget that you take a murder video? And like, why don't you not check your phone before you call the cops? I don't know.
I mean, she was lit. So here, I'll play the video.
For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. You. Sarah. You. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Sarah. I can't you, babe. Seriously. Yeah, that's when you do when you trick me. Sarah. Sarah. Sarah.
So that's only part of the first video. The last video, again, 11 minutes apart, he just said Sarah. And you could tell, like, in that video that he's clearly, like, struggling to breathe, right?
Yeah, like he's running out of oxygen or running out of, like, energy even, from, like, begging for his life.
Exactly. So fast forward to day 3, October 22nd, 2024. This is a very interesting day because she takes the stand and her defense attorneys are obviously, questioning her and whatever. And she is describing their game as hide and seek game. She says that she was hiding and he never came and found her. And then she went down the stairs and saw him just getting in the suitcase. And she decides to go over there and zip him up. Yeah.
Mine's gone.
Yeah, right. I know. Everyone keep drinking. April will hydrate.
Yes.
So she zips him up. She says that in the beginning that they were just joking around and they were laughing about it. And then she decides to flip the suitcase upside down, which this suitcase, you can look it up online, but it's like an older style suitcase. So the top like flaps open and it's like a cloth style. So if it's flipped upside down, it's going to be harder to unzip, right? So she flips the suitcase upside down, and she said that they were still, laughing and joking. And then she decides to videotape him. And she says that at that point in time that she felt like she was the one who was in control, and she was going to tell him how he makes her feel. Because now she's got him in a state where he can't react and where he can't be violent and where he can't be abusive. And so she's telling the court this, that now she feels safe and has the ability to talk to him. Unlike normally when he would react and be abusive.
But like, according to the police and like the neighbors and stuff, like she was pretty reactive back whenever they would like fight and argue and stuff. So it's like she had a voice the whole time.
Well, and on the video that she says that she's recording talking to him to talk to him, she's not talking to him. She's mocking him and she's laughing and she's making fun of the situation, right? So it's like, no, you're lying. You weren't telling him like, this one time you choked me, or this one time you stabbed me, or this one time you did this. Like, you're not talking about that. Like, you are listening to a man dying and you are liking it.
Yeah. The thing is that she liked it, and if it's like, if she's turned somebody, or if someone has turned her this dark now, like you can only imagine like what her future relationships would be like if she were to get away with this.
Right. Can you imagine like if the defense would have won and said, like give her, this is PTSD, battered woman syndrome. Like this would have happened again with another man that she would be with.
But it would probably be some other weird shit.
Yeah, probably. Oh my God. Yeah. What, stuff him in the crawl space? Or the attic space and let him like die. I don't know. Like it's wild. Anyway, so she also said on this day that she forgot that she took the videos. That she was just so drunk that she forgot that she took the videos. But her memory's so great about remembering the game, right?
And remembering everything else about the night.
Right. And then she said whenever she listened to the video, whenever she was, in police custody, that it triggered her memory. So I think she's just a liar and she knows exactly what she did. Yeah, she was drunk, but she was an alcoholic. So she knows exactly what she did, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think it doesn't help that she thought about it and talked about it before too. Like that doesn't help her case at all. Like knowing all of that, I'm like, she definitely wanted to. Oh. Like you said, she was just waiting for the right time. So
yeah, I think so too. So she proceeds to tell, the jury about George and how uncomfortable she felt and how she wanted him to feel that uncomfort with him being stuffed in the suitcase. And the defense asked her, so what happened between that 11-minute period of the two videos? Can you talk to us about like what you did? And her tone completely changed. And she was like, well, I went upstairs and then I saw his hand come through the zipper, through the suitcase, like he was trying to get himself out. So I saw a baseball bat leaning up against I think she said like the dining room table or kitchen table or something. And I started poking him, like poking his hand with the bat to get his hand back in because I was terrified that he was going to get out. And if he was going to get out, then he was going to kill me. But the medical examiner testified, obviously, and there was autopsy and stuff like that. He died of asphyxiation, God, for the third time, espresso martini's getting to me. But he had bruising all over his body. I don't know if you remember that. And he had bruising on his hands, on his face, on his butt, on his legs, like all over his body. And so she beat him with this baseball bat while he was in the suitcase during that 11-minute period in between videos. But she said that she was just poking him with the bat. Poking someone to get their hand back in isn't going to leave the amount of bruising that he had all over his body.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why, like, she could have come up with, like, anything else.
I know.
Anything. She could have been like, oh, yeah, we were at the park or something, and he fell down a flight of stairs.
Yeah. No, she said that she was poking him with the bat. So, you know, she's telling the defense this, and she's telling, you know, again, battered woman syndrome, because she knows that if he gets out of the suitcase, that he's going to kill her. And she said that he had said that he was going to end her. If he got out of the suitcase, that he was going to end her.
So can't you call the police?
You would think.
Call 911 and be like, hey,
I'm terrified of my life. I put my boyfriend in a suitcase.
And he said he's going to kill me now?
Yeah, he said he's going to kill me. Like, you would think. Or, I don't know, go to a neighbor and have someone there to, like, help. I don't know. Like, you would think.
Lots and lots of options.
Many options. So, anyway, again, bruising all over his body. He had blunt force trauma to the back of the head, the forehead, all over his body. His lip was busted. So yeah, I think she did whatever she could to kill him, to make sure that he was dead. And I think that's why it took her 11 minutes to take that second video, was because she probably thought that he was dead. And then she starts recording. Maybe she saw him move, and he said Sarah one last time, and then he died.
So she's just like beating him.
Yeah. Beating him to death to make sure that he dies. So,
and then I don't know, that's so weird. Like,
I know,
to take the second video, it's like, I know, that really, like, maybe the first one she could have gotten away with just having the one, but the second one, man, like,
I know. Yeah, that I think like screamed to the prosecution, like, that she was evil. But so there's additional evidence being shown by her defense, you know, showing the history of the abuse. And I talked about the steak knife and all that stuff. And, you know, there were witness testimonies from like neighbors and her ex-husband. And there were witness testimonies on both sides, obviously, like his family and stuff like that. But part of this too was the police. I think that is like the next day, the body cam footage of the officers, the responding officers from previous incidents, like came and, you know, they showed the footage of like him being arrested or whatever the situation was. And again, I know, I can't even imagine how she must have felt like every single day being in an abusive relationship. However, like, you can't just do what you did and think that you're gonna get away with it.
Yeah, and I'm like, you can't do all of the things leading up to it either, you know? Like, it's one thing if it was actually self-defense, but it wasn't. Yeah. It was literally her just... And it's like, she probably could have left too. Like, a lot of times, like, yeah, I get, like, you don't want to leave. I totally get that. It's like a trauma response, trauma bond with that person. I totally get that. Yeah. But it's like, she could have left instead of murdering, but she chose to murder instead. So that's just like a red flag.
It is a red flag. And I think that's why, you know, the prosecution did what they did. And anyway, so later that day in the trial, they brought the suitcase out and they were like, hey, we want you to show us how you zipped him up in the suitcase. And so part of the trial, like she's legit like bending over, showing them like how she zipped him up in the suitcase and all that. It was so funny. I mean, it's funny. I say funny. I have a very sinister mind when it comes to that stuff. But I'm just like, seriously, this drunk bitch.
He's licking my leg.
Abel, go on. Go.
I'm like, I tried pushing his face away so many times and he just kept going.
Hey, go on. Go. Anyway, sorry, my dog is an asshole. But
I'm gonna need you to repeat that. I was very distracted.
They brought out the suitcase that George was in.
Oh, the actual suitcase?
The actual suitcase. And they wanted her to demonstrate how she zipped him up. Yeah. And so she was like bending over in this courtroom and like zipping up the suitcase. And they're like, okay, so show us the gap that you left, because that was part of her defense. Well, I left a gap so he could try to get himself out.
Yeah, but she said that she poked his hand back in.
Yeah,
if he tried to get out.
And that's when she started beating him to death. What? Right? Like, that's when she started beating him to death, when he was trying to get out. So no, bitch, you didn't leave a gap to let him get out.
The gap was not a gap.
The gap was not a gap. He tried to get out, and then guess what? You made his ass stay in. So anyway, day 4 of the trial, again, you know, they have the testimonies of not only the officers, but also psychologists and psychiatrists. A psychologist, Dr. Michael Brannon, testified as an expert witness about battered spouse syndrome, but he was consistently objected and could not talk about Sarah being a battered spouse, because he was trying to claim in her defense that she was a battered spouse, but the prosecution was like, no, that is all hearsay. It's not factual. We know of a few events and a few times when that happened.
And also, like, other than the cops being there, like, no actual proof, you know what I mean? Like, all of this is like hearsay from her, because he can't even stand up for himself anymore.
Yeah, well, and she, you know, showed a video. I guess there was a video of him like beating the television with the baseball bat and like stuff like that. But, you know, the prosecution was like, again, it's hypothetical. So you can't come on here as a psychologist saying that she has PTSD and battered spouse syndrome, and this is why. So that's why they kept objecting him. So then Dr. Julie Harper, she testified her analysis of Sarah, because of course, like, Sarah wanted to say, you know, that she was drunk when this happened and she doesn't remember, but then she remembers certain details. So Dr. Harper testified saying that Sarah had narcissistic personality traits, but did not meet the criteria for narcissism. So she does not have a personality disorder of narcissism. She just shows traits of narcissism. So again, like, all these clinical people who are coming to testify are not going in her way at all. They're going against her.
They're all like, no, you're not going to get it from me.
Yeah, you're just fucking crazy. So, day 5 of the trial, October 24th, 2024, more videos and evidence are shown. Again, body cam footage is shown. 911 calls are played of, you know, the abuse that had happened between the two of them. And then day 6, October 25th, Sarah asked for a mistrial because George's family got so emotional after listening to the videos and the evidence and seeing the suitcase being zipped up and seeing the video of him being in there and like dying.
As they should.
Yeah. So she asked her attorney if they can try to get a mistrial because they got very loud and vocal in the courtroom.
Oh.
Yeah, but they were like crying and they're like, how could you do this? Like, he was our dad or he was our son or our uncle or our cousin or whatever, right? Like any normal family would do. They were grieving. They were upset. Yeah. They're hearing this shit for the first time.
And they're also hearing to this lady who is trying to stand up for killing their family member that they care so dearly about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that would really irritate me.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously the judge was like, no, motion denied. There will not be a mistrial. They did no wrong. Yes, they acted out of order, but still, like, they were emotional.
They had every right to be. That was the literal first time they heard his death.
Yeah.
So
I know. So obviously the attorneys gave their closing arguments and she gave her like final statement. And her final statement was so cold. There was no sense of remorse. She did tell the family, sorry. I'm sorry that I did this. I'm sorry I caused hurt for you. Sorry. But she said, I'm paraphrasing. She said, I'm sorry that George is no longer with us. I think about him often and I think about his laugh, but I had to save myself. Like, I had to save my life. So she was continuously trying to make it seem like she was acting in defense.
yeah, I'm like, it's not really an apology if you follow it with something else that's not like that's pointing the finger at somebody else. Like, you can't point the finger and say that you're sorry. Like,
no,
it's like, I'm sorry, but you made me do this. No, just take accountability for your actions. Just do it.
Well, and if you have to say I'm sorry when people apologize, you should say I'm sorry for this, period. You don't say I'm sorry for this, but here's why I did it. And especially when it comes to a murder.
Yeah, it doesn't really, and to the family.
Yeah, to the family.
To the family.
I don't get it. So anyway, so her attorney was like, you need to take a plea deal because this don't look good for you. Mm-hmm. Like, the evidence is against you. You are not going to get what you want. So take this 15-year plea deal for second-degree murder. And the narcissistic traits that she had said no.
And, like, honestly, for a murder, 15 years is a pretty good amount of time.
Right.
Considering that most of the time people that are in prison get let out early for good behavior or on parole or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And she already had done 4 years. I mean, so that could have been like half of really the time that she spent in prison.
Yeah.
So she says no. And... well, after the closing arguments, there was only a 90-minute deliberation with the jury, and they came back, and they found her guilty of second-degree murder. I know. And then she was absolutely shocked because she thought that they were going to come back with, like, manslaughter or third degree or whatever, like a lesser charge, and they gave her second degree. And so... criminal defense attorney Mark Eidlarsh said, in no way did Sarah apologize for what she did in a meaningful way. Everyone had to sit through her very long rant. She victimized not only the victim, but also the family, the prosecutors, and the cops. How about you just say that you screwed up? That probably would have gotten you closer to a minimum sentence.
So much farther. Like, if she had any remorse.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. And there was no emotion. She didn't cry. Like, not that you want to see like fake crocodile tears, but.
Right. But like, if I don't know. This is hypothetical. If it were me, I guess I have so many emotions. Though. I'm an emotional girl. So.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
right.
I could not sit there.
Yeah.
And like, if it were actually manslaughter and it were actually somebody that was hurting you, somebody that was traumatizing you, and you were scared, then you would absolutely be crying trying to tell your story because you are actually traumatized. Mm-hmm. But if you're not actually traumatized, it's a little hard for you to have a genuine reaction or any reaction at all.
Right. Exactly. And so, like, that is why she is such... I think she is a narcissist based off of her behavior. But, you know, we'll let the...
only traits.
Yeah. We'll let the professionals say whatever they want to say. However, so... right behind you, there's an on-off button. Hit that. One more. one more time. Thank you. So second-degree murder in the state of Florida is the unlawful killing of another person without premeditation, but with a deprived mind, with a prison sentence of up to 30 years. So in my opinion, I think it was premeditated. I think she planned it. I think she knew, again, she was looking for the perfect opportunity to kill George. And again, with a maximum sentence of 30 years. However, on December 4th, 2024, Judge Michael Kranick sentenced Sarah, are you ready for this?
Okay, hit me.
To life in prison.
Shut up.
Bitch should have taken the plea deal.
Shut up.
She should have taken the plea deal.
See, that's what I was expecting them to come at her with the first time.
Yeah.
You know, just because of all of the evidence and everything. But, like,
I know.
she had to be all cocky.
She had to be cocky. She should have taken the 15 years.
She should have.
As my mom says, she should have sucked a nut. Oh, man. But seriously, she should have. She should have taken the 15 years because now the bitch is stuck there for life.
Forever.
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 Forever. And so, anyway, the judge was like, I sentence you to life and you have 30 days to appeal your sentence. Yeah, only 30 days to appeal.
That gives him literally no time.
No time at all. However, 2 days later, Sarah wrote the judge a 27-page letter. 27-page letter. And I'll talk a little bit about like what she said. But basically, it's her rambling. I mean, that was her in the entire trial.
The whole time. Every time.
Yeah, every time. Whenever she was with the detectives, whenever she was, like, the whole time, she was just rambling. So, 27-page letter. She wrote this. 2 days later, sent it to him. So, she probably went back to her prison cell. And she's like writing this fucking letter telling everyone what they did wrong. And that's what she did.
Oh, she didn't. It wasn't like asking for like, oh.
It was like what everyone else did wrong and how like they wronged her and she didn't get justice. So anyway, I'll link the letter if anyone wants to read it all. But part of it in the letter, she said, I forgive the jury, truly, for being weary from this confusion and dysfunction. Also from being hungry and tired and wanting to go home to their families after being away from in full capacity for 2 full weeks. I understand from this and their brash, misguided, corrupted decision, I was wrongfully judged a murderer instead of a survivor. For this, all is forgiven. For this, I can still survive and stand tall, having an even greater, the greatest opportunity to finally be understood in the Supreme Court for my appeal. I didn't lose. God just wanted me to win a different way. Freedom and forgiveness.
So is she going to appeal it?
She is.
What?
Yeah.
So the Supreme Court? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So that's what happens. You know, whenever you appeal, obviously you're saying that the judge was biased or the judge, did wrong.
Okay. Got you.
Right.
Okay.
So you're appealing the judge and the jury. And so then it goes to the Supreme Court of Florida. Right. So
okay.
Then the Supreme Court will decide, is this even a case that we like want to listen to? Is this even like worth our while? And they'll either agree to the appeal or they'll deny it. And sometimes, I mean, her sentence can't get worse. Let's be honest.
Yeah, literally. She has nothing to lose at this point.
No. But I've seen like some cases and some appeals where people get like 12 years, for example, for like murder 2. And then they go back and they appeal it. And then they get like murder 1 and they get 20 years.
It's kind of like the courts are like, oh, yeah, you want to make us go through all this shit again? No. I don't think so.
Right?
Get fucked.
Right. Pretty much. I mean, but what they have to do is like you basically start the whole process over, right? So they review all the evidence. They talk to all the witnesses.
All over again.
And fast forward, think about this. Technology. What's advanced in the time from the original trial to now the appeal? Technology. And so they have this better technology, and a lot of the times it unfortunately goes against the person who's trying to appeal.
Yeah, everything is way, like, if they've been in there for several years, like, they don't know all of that. They don't know what's going on, you know?
No. And by the time they get to the appeal, like, it could be years. It could be years by the time the Supreme Court even, like, humors it.
So if this were to happen, if they do put an appeal in and they do take their time, so is that like, I had a question, but let me come back to it. It was something about how, like, getting let go, like you get out, like, okay, I remember what I was going. Okay, so once they give you, like, if you appeal it and they agree, like, do you get a choice on the plea deal again, or do they just say this is what you get now?
No, yeah,
you know
this is what you're gonna get now.
Oh shit! So it's like no, like, you appeal and it's like, if you get this, then you're stuck with it.
You're stuck with it.
Oh.
Yes. So once you appeal and once you go through the appeal it process, whatever that decision is at the end is it. Wow. You can't appeal again. Like, that's it. And
I would wait a long time.
I know. I know.
Well, I'd be like, I served all this time. I'm better. Like, whatever.
Well, I know. And for the people who truly are innocent, like, do it fast. Do it as soon as possible, because, like, you were screwed over. But for people like her.
Yeah, that are just, that took a gamble and was being cocky and then wants to appeal now. Like,
yeah, like, no, come on. You murdered George. You stuffed him in a suitcase. Well, he got in there willingly, apparently. That's the story. He got in there willingly, and then he died, and you didn't let him out. So, like, the evidence is going to come back against you again, and you're going to get probably the same sentence.
Yeah. If not worse again. But I mean, it's,
what's worse than life?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, friends, that is part 2 of Miss Sarah Boone. We'll have to do part 3 whenever she goes through the appeal process.
The last appeal.
Oh my God.
The final appeal.
Yeah. Right. God, the final part 3 of Sarah Boone. But yeah, crazy story. She's a crazy woman, and, you know, yeah, she was abused and whatever, but still, she had many other options, in my opinion.
Very many. Murder is at, like, the bottom.
Yeah.
Or it's, like, not even on the list.
Yeah,
you know?
unless it truly is, like,
yeah,
self-defense.
it's not even on the list.
Yeah, it shouldn't even be on the list. Unless it was true self-defense. But in this situation, he was very fucking defenseless.
Yeah. In a self-defense situation, hell yeah. You best bet I'm going to find anything. I'm grabbing a freaking lamp. I'm grabbing anything.
I will grab whatever. I am fighting back.
Yeah. I don't care what happens to you. But if you're in a suitcase, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Sorry about you.
Yeah.
Sorry about you. Well,
tough luck.
Yeah, tough luck. Well, you know, leave a comment. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'm glad we're back. This was so much fun. So much fun. On our link tree, you'll also see, you know, not only like our YouTube, if you want to watch. Oh, you can watch now on Spotify too, which is pretty cool. So you'll be able to see the video, but feel free to support us on Patreon too. So we're on there. If you want to donate to the podcast, you can. I think some goals for me is, like, to bring back merch. I would love to bring back merch, right?
Give me fashion.
Yes. So if you want to donate there, you can subscribe to all of us, all of our pages. So on socials and all that. And, you know, as always, stay sinister. Bye.